What if I told you that we could solve all the world's problems? Think I'm a little crazy? Well, maybe. New question. Would you believe me if I said that millions of people across the world are already working together to do that? Not yet? Stay tuned. Welcome to Let's Talk Impact, a podcast I created to help incredible innovators share how they are reimagining the world as we know it. So, let's talk impact. Welcome to Let's Talk Impact. Well, right now we are in a very polarized society, and we often fail to have the conversations that truly matter. Sophie Beren recognized this problem and began The Conversationalist, a content platform that engages young people to have conversations that are really important to have. And she's here to tell us all about it. So welcome to the show, Sophie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Matine. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Excited to talk more with you. So
Me
let's jump
too.
in right to that. Let's talk about The Conversationalist. What does it do?
So, I I'm such a believer in sharing really what we're about before it is what we do.
Mhm.
And the Conversationalist is the go-to destination to amplify Gen Z voices. And we do this through our multi-platform content as well as our digital community platform where we're empowering young people everywhere to have conversations that matter.
Mhm. That is so exciting to hear, and we're going to talk even more about that. But before we dig deeper into that impact, let's talk a little bit about the origins of it. So, why create something like the Conversationalist? What's the story behind it?
Totally. So I'm currently quarantining in Wichita, Kansas, where I'm from, where I would typically be in New York during the year. And growing up here in Kansas, my entire life, I grew up feeling like the other. I was the only Jewish student in my grade in
Mm,
school and largely the entire high school until my siblings grew up. And I just felt so much of my childhood was you know, based on me figuring out who I was with my Jewish identity, because that's how everyone viewed me. I was always the other, and I didn't really know how to share my thoughts and opinions and beliefs because I didn't feel like I had a voice. And so I constantly felt like I had to wait for someone else's permission to say go, to go out into the world and make
right.
an impact. So going to college, I loved going to Penn on the East Coast, and that was really the first time I broke outside of my Midwestern bubble and headed to college. I was so excited to meet people from all walks of life, but what I found was second semester freshman year, pretty much everyone on campus only hung out with their own identity groups.
Mm,
It's human nature. We tend to flock towards groups of people who resemble our beliefs and our backgrounds. And college is supposed to be the time where you meet people from all walks of life.
right.
So I took a step back and realized that not only was I having this experience because I gravitated towards the Jewish community because it was the first time in my life that I found people who were like me, but then when
Right.
I took a step back and realized everyone was doing that with their groups,
Mm,
something needed to change. So without further ado, I wanted to create something on campus that would inspire that connection outside of the classroom. So I decided to start this club, called it Table Talk, and the entire purpose was just to get people interacting outside of their groups, just
mm,
making new friends, finding what we had in common with one another, and every once in a while talking about these difficult topics that were very much on our minds at school.
mm,
And so through starting Table Talk, was able to figure out that my friends on other campuses really felt the same way with their schools. And this
right.
was almost like a common cold, and the solution was connection. And so Table Talk quickly spread to over 80 campuses and was spending all of my time and energy on bringing this model in a unique, customized way to different campuses. But then the 2016 election rolled around,
Oof.
and on campus, there was so much division.
Mm,
And long story short, no one was willing to share their opinions openly and in an open forum, but was simply throwing up a fiery Facebook status,
mm,
unfriending people who didn't share their belief systems, and inevitably feeling disappointed when the election results came out because we were so stuck in our ideological echo chamber as a
mm,
campus. And so, with that insight, I wanted to take the table talk concept to the next level, which led to the founding of the Conversationalist, which was really going to be that go to destination to break open that echo chamber and really find a way to share our opinions without fear of judgment and see
right.
each other for who we are and not just for the opinions that we hold, to be able to come together, take action, and make change. So, thus, the Conversationalist was born really as a reaction to this need to break open these silos that we so oftentimes get stuck in without even knowing, to come together and actually make a difference.
Yeah.
So that's the Conversationalist.
Oh, that's so exciting. And I think that need is so relevant, even more so today, as in we're rolling right into the next election and we're seeing this divide again. But platform like the Conversationalist is so important.
Thanks,
Um,
Matine.
so I wanted to kind of jump into this next question because I'm a little bit of like a branding geek, and I just love all the effort placed into the Conversationalist branding on social media, on your website. Everything's just so put together and it just looks so nice. So at first, kudos to you guys. It's so amazing. I love that.
Thank you.
But I wanted to ask because this is really important, and I think a lot of times, especially some people listening right now might not understand how important branding is when it comes to whether you're a nonprofit or whether you're a business, because that's how we interact with companies right now. And so I want you to tell us a little bit about like why is that brand so important, and then how do you think it has affected your organization over the years when you have that conciseness?
Such a great question. And I'm going to be totally honest. Branding has been everything to our
Right.
company. And branding, from the way I understand it, having done extensive brand work with my incredible mentor, Rich Keller, shout out,
Okay.
um, I've really come to understand that branding is much more than an aesthetic and an image and colors and typography. Branding is about
Mm,
who you are. And
right.
so, Mateen, whether you know it or not, you are a personal brand. I am a
Right.
personal brand, and every single person is a walking brand.
Mhm.
And this, I think, is a pivotal switch that we all need to make in our own minds moving forward as we start these organizations and make an impact in the world. Because at the end of the day, people buy people. And
Mhm.
so, I did a lot of work in laying out the Conversationalist brand foundation to understand at the end of the day, no matter how uncomfortable it might make me feel, is that I am the reason why the Conversationalist exists, and
Mhm.
so much of that is tied to my story. And if I can include and integrate who I am into the brand, people will more likely connect with the story and the brand and get involved, so that the brand can start growing, and eventually I can take a step back and it can be the
Mm.
Conversationalist. But until the brand grows, the entrepreneur has to be the face and the brand. And
Mm.
so for me, in this branding exercise and with Rich's help, I was able to find out that at the end of the day, my core value that I bring to the world is unification. And so, therefore, I am a unifier. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, I'm always trying to bring people together, connect people, and make the world feel smaller. And so, this insight really led to the value foundation and the core offering of our company, because the Conversationalist is in the business of unification. That is what we're selling. And that's how we lead with our brand, whether it's on social media or in our activities or throughout our community. We are aiming to unify the world. And so branding has been the most core piece of the puzzle for us, because that's how we stand out, and that's how at the end of the day we'll be able to make the impact we so hope to create. So my conception of branding has really been all about fusing that core value into everything that we do. So no matter what, at the end of the day, yes, we can have different product offerings and we can do different activities, but we are in the business of unification. So
Yes.
that has really helped us build really the foundation of our content and our strategy, so that we're guided and that we're
Mhm.
building a really strong brand foundation to enact the change we hope to create.
That is so good to hear, and I know hopefully some people listening have taken some notes as I have taken a couple myself. I'm a brand geek, as I was saying before. So
Well, I
that
have
is
to connect you with Rich Keller. He will
okay.
change your life.
All right, can't wait. Can't wait. All right. Well, let's keep it moving. So you were talking about this just a couple of minutes ago, and in your interviews, you talk about this, the idea of social media echo chambers. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about what that means, first for the people who don't, and then what are your thoughts on that, especially right now with everything going
Such a good question. I get so fired up about the echo chamber, but I also acknowledge that when I say echo chamber, that can sound so lofty. But
on?
using social media as the example really helps bring it together. So, Mateen, think of your Instagram feed
Okay.
and think of all the people you're following.
Okay.
For the most part, I'm sure a lot of the people you follow are from your upbringing, whether it's
Hmm.
families, friends, community members, people that you've grown up alongside,
Sure.
who might, at the end of the day, for the most part, share or have similar beliefs to your
Okay.
own.
Fair
And
enough.
so every day, I mean, I don't know about you, but my screen time is insane right now.
Oof,
If
let's not
we
go
just
down that
spend, I
road.
know, right? If we just spend all day, every day scrolling down that Instagram feed, for the most part, if everyone you're following share similar beliefs to you, you're probably going to start re-inculcating yourself with the same ideology
Mm,
every time you scroll down your newsfeed. And right now, our generation, we are digital natives, Generation Z. We we believe in everything that social media has to offer, and
right.
the more we start seeing the same beliefs over and over again, that perception becomes reality. And so this is exactly what I was talking about on my college campus. For the most part,
Mm,
everyone on my campus shared one political ideology, and everyone was seeing the same Facebook statuses over and over again about how much they hated President Trump and how much they, wanted to get rid of everyone in their lives who voted for Trump.
mm,
That doesn't essentially accomplish much because
don't do
you're
anything.
really only speaking to a group of people or to an audience that shares your own beliefs. And so I am such a believer that in order to make any sort of change in our society, we have to break open that echo chamber. So my favorite game to play is to encourage anyone who I speak to follow 10 new accounts that
Okay.
resemble a different background or a different point of view than your own. Doesn't have to be political. It could be someone from a different country, just someone who shares a different worldview than you, so that at
Mm,
least we can take those steps to start diversifying our feeds and breaking open our echo chambers to start conceiving of other points of view. Because slowly, those differences of opinion, no matter how crazy they might drive you when they come up on your feed, will
yeah.
at the end of the day open your eyes to different perspectives that will help us come together and see people for who they are. I'm such a believer that we have so much more in common than that which divides us. And I believe
Yes.
that by breaking even the first step, the breaking of the social media echo chamber will
Mm,
bring us that much closer together.
yes.
So I
And
think it's
just
something we don't even think
understanding.
about, right?
Right.
Right?
Exactly. You just have to give yourself the chance. I just love that 10 new accounts idea. That's just such a creative little thing. Again, you blowing it out of the water here, and I'm going to be doing that right after we finish here
I
because
can't
that's such
wait to
a
hear who you follow.
great idea because really we can get stuck in our own little pool and it doesn't do much. So great idea there. I love
Totally.
that. Um,
Thanks.
so let's move on to this next question about the realm of social entrepreneurship. And then I've heard a lot about this idea of staying true to yourself. And you were telling me about this before. So tell me more about that. And what are your thoughts or any stories you have around this idea right here?
Such a great question. And not to sound cliche, but when it comes to success in the entrepreneurship world, I believe that first and foremost, authenticity is your
Mm,
superpower. When people are looking to join a movement or get involved with an organization or buy a product, they want to feel that there is a real person behind it selling that product and that they connect with the brand itself. And so, if we go back to that thesis statement earlier that we are the brand,
yes.
I so believe that we need to take that next step as entrepreneurs to essentially be our most authentic selves so that whatever we're telling our community members or our consumers or our users to do, we are also walking the walk. So
Mm,
this is something that honestly has been quite a challenge for me. And I think a lot of that is due to social media and this need to put out our most perfect self online. And I've been
yes.
trying to make this shift internally to be a bit more vulnerable with, my background and my stories, because I think vulnerability is really one of our biggest strengths. And
Hmm.
I think something I think about is like, say, let's use this example. Say I was an orthodontist and I'm telling all of my friends that they need to get braces. It's so important. Like, we have to have straight teeth. You have to have braces, but I never get braces.
Mm,
That's inauthentic. And I
mm,
think we have to make the effort as the entrepreneur and the brand to walk that walk so that not only are you telling the people in your world to go out and do what you're hoping to accomplish, you're doing it yourself. And
mm,
so this has been something I've learned, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
We're creating that destination for young people everywhere to share their voices and their opinions. But the conversationalist is also a manifestation of a lot of the things I struggle with. This was born out of this idea of
Right.
struggling to share my own opinions and feel like I have a voice. And I'm still figuring out where it is appropriate to share my own beliefs. But at the end of the day, I have to be able to start sharing more about who I am and what I believe in order to be my most authentic self,
Mm.
which is the key to winning the game as an entrepreneur. So that's my take on
Wow.
social entrepreneurship and staying true to yourself. And I think once you make that switch and you can become more vulnerable, you're much more likely to get out of your own way and
Hmm.
start making leaps and bounds within your career. So I'm still working on it. I am so not there. I am a work in progress, but that's kind of been my philosophy as I approach the world of
Interesting.
authenticity.
Authenticity. Well, I have a really close friend who's asked me so much about this word. I mean, we've had hour-long conversations about authenticity, and it's such a
Amazing.
weird word to use now, though, too, because I feel like uh, our society has found ways that we're trying to present ourselves as authentic, but by doing that, we're not really. That's a whole nother rabbit hole
Right.
we could
Oh
go
my gosh,
down,
we
but
should unpack that at some point, right? It's like,
yes,
what does
we'll
it
set
even
up a
mean to
tea
be
time
authentic?
to do that
I can't
because,
wait.
and I'm going to invite her to it too because she would love to hear this conversation. But,
Amazing.
thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your insights, giving me so many notes to take down, so many new things to try. And we've learned so much from you. Where can everyone connect with you online?
Thanks so much, Matine. If you want to get involved with the Conversationalist, it is as easy as sending one text message. All you have to do is text the word unify to 877-222-1119, or just visit our website, theconversationalist.com. Follow us on Instagram at The Conversationalist, and you will find everything you need to know to join our community and take that next step to have your voice heard. So I hope everyone will stay in touch, and I can't wait to
Yeah.
stay in touch with you.
Yes, of course. Well, that's so great to hear. And I'll put that all in the show notes below. And then again, thank you so much for coming on and can't wait to keep the conversation going.
Thanks, Matine. You're making such an impact. Honored to
Oh.
be here.
Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Impact. Information about this week's guest can be found in the show notes below. Make sure you connect with them and me. If you have an idea or you just want to talk about impact some more, connect with me at Matine Khalighi on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you like what you're hearing, please leave a review below. And don't forget to follow Let's Talk Impact on all social media platforms. Just search at Let's Talk Impact Pod. See you next time.